Sleepy Male Dad, can you please have a copyright abolitionist on to explain the history of copyright law and how it helps capitalists and the top 1% of artists at the expense of all other artists in society?
I mean, I'm on every day.
We have definitely had people on in the past, but it's been a while.
It was like a very, 10, 15 years ago, it was a bigger conversation, but we definitely should.
Yes. I've been a listener for 3 years. You do great work. You have been a huge influence on my politics. However, I completely disagree with your apparent views on copyright law. Several times this year, you've endorsed the idea of expanding copyright law both through courts and bureaucratically. Is that right?
How?
I don't think that's the case.
What are you talking about?
This seems to me bizarre to me, as copyright law was no.
Like what issue did we? Yeah, be specific.
Yeah.
I've always felt we need to roll back copyright law.
Yeah, I think maybe this is in the context of AI, but I.
Oh, yes. In the context of AI, I think that yes, I think that. Well, I don't think that we should expand copyright law. I just think that within the context of AI in particular. And this is not, I have no problem with sampling stuff and people using stuff, but to generate new works via algorithms in this way, scraping all this material, I have an issue with. Now, I would roll back how long people can own copyright. Mm-hmm. So if it's been
the problem with AI is free culture and Creative Commons sort of stuff. That also you have to attribute when you base it when you reuse works, even if you aren't prohibited by law from doing so. I think that's still part of the ethics. And so AI being we can do all this stuff and steal from all this stuff, but we can't tell you what we actually stole from and how much. That just doesn't work. And I do stand with any sort of artist guild or whatever against those tech companies doing that.
And sampling art in the creation of art is fundamental, as you say. I have no issue with that. No artists are being materially harmed by AI sampling their art, but that's not what AI purports to do.
Yep.
They purport to create what they consider to be wholly new works of art that are, in fact, secretly derivative of other artists. This is different from sampling.
Yep.
You want to take a portion of this show and put it in your movie? I mean, we get requests of that all the time. I think there was one today where somebody,
that Ayn Rand guy that we talked to.
Think of it more as plagiarism. Think of it more as or enclosing on a carbon copy and then commodifying it and thwarting it for a different end. That's what we're talking about.
I will also say that, selling it as a product, these are not works of art that are necessarily happening. These are just commodities. I mean, I'm not, and
yes.
Taking my voice that I've done for, let's say, Bob's Burgers, and then using that voice to voice another character in the future without my permission and without my compensation, to create a wholly new cartoon from that. And I'm not even talking a one-off. I'm perfectly happy to have certain thresholds. If somebody wants to do that, and they indicate that it's not me speaking, that it's been generated from my voice and it's a one-off. But this is a question of labor at one point.
And the means of production and who gets to own that, and is it those investors because they have a computer chip, they get to benefit from the sum total of uploaded artwork and basically resell that, and that it can be, you can support objecting to that. And I do worry that maybe we're going to get too because these are the muscles that these governments have exercised, copyright about that. Mm-hmm. But ultimately I still think the point really remains that these things have to be forced to output, and they can't just be stealing stuff under the current situation and then building up the laws do exist now.
That's also the thing, is I don't think this is a question of expanding copyright. It is simply enforcing it in the context of scraping your material and repurposing It's not even a repurposing. That's the thing, is it's not a repurposing. It is literally taking my voice. I can now plug my voice into AI and type something that I've never ever said in my life, and it will generate me saying it. And the idea that Disney is going to take that in the future and make another show. Now, I don't think they're going to do it with me necessarily, but and make another show and profit off it. I'm not so concerned. That to me is not protecting myself in that situation. And it's not just me. I'm just talking generally.
Right.
In that situation is not harmful to the development of art.
Right. Because when it actually,
That's a commodity.
like when it actually comes to like addressing copyright, it isn't just get rid of copyright. It is also how else are we supporting artists? And I would add that maybe we should help housing become more affordable, decommodify healthcare, and make education not something that puts you in debt peonage. All that will have you, and so I don't think you can just remove the copyright thing from art, because I do think you're going to run into the objection that, well, how are artists ever going to monetize anything? And the point is, like, we need to not have artists be dependent on becoming capitalists. We need to let them be artists and, remove a lot of this other stuff that forces them to make money.